Alright boys, Evase is back on a Destiny vid. He's giving the thoughts on the final shape. I've played it. I've done everything except the raid. I'm hoping to get the raid eventually going soon with all the boys. Maybe I'll just do it with viewers, do it with people, randos, who knows. I've done everything but the raid. I've loved it. I've loved the campaign. I was a little weary on the campaign until the very end, like the final mission. Like the final one that they released a little bit later with the 12 days, the cutscenes, all that kind of stuff. I thought that was beautiful. I thought it was great. I mean, you got my reactions all YouTube, TikTok. So I'm totally a big fan. I would probably, me personally, before like this person deep dives into it and probably gives a couple thoughts that I'm forgetting about, I'd probably give it like, it's definitely the best Destiny expansion I've ever played. I've played pretty much since year one. I would give it like a 10 out of 10 personally, sentimentally, just as a Destiny fan. But anything outside of that, I mean, 8.5. That's as a critic and like an outside, you know, perspective. But let's see.
The Final Shape is one of Destiny 2's best expansions ever.
Great one.
Bungie needed to deliver on the conclusion of a 10-year story, the Light and Darkness saga. With new weapons, a cinematic linear destination, and campaign, this truly does feel like the end of a journey, but also a beginning. Let's talk about the Final Shape.
Let's talk about it. I'm here for it. I'm gonna full screen him here.
We'll break up this review into a couple of different sections: gameplay, story, and so on.
Great.
This is after the release of the raid and the final mission, so we've had almost a week to play the expansion. Let's start with Prismatic and new abilities and subclasses. Prismatic was done in a great way. It's a super fun new subclass where you can combine light and darkness powers how you want.
I personally think that Prismatic was like what Destiny 2 should have been the entire time. We should have been able to balance light and dark, make all kinds of crazy stuff. But again, like them making that like the big final ending, I'm totally okay with. But the Prismatic, I only played the Hunter. I'll probably do a Warlock soon, and I've never really done Titans too much, except for like maybe early D2 days and Forsaken when it was like peak until now. So I'll probably do a Warlock with some friends. And it's been, I've loved it. I mean, I haven't touched anything other than Prismatic. I think I've gone back to Strand maybe just a couple times for some things here and there, but I love it. Prismatic is, I think it's great. Should have been in there forever. I hope it stays in the game forever, and I hope it's some kind of iteration, if we do see a Destiny 3 of that same concept, is there.
In Lightfall, the whole campaign's focus was on Strand, acquiring that power. People didn't really like that, so in the Final Shape, it's much different. As soon as you enter the...
Oh yeah, people hated in Lightfall that you didn't actually unlock Strand until almost the very end. And I've been 50-50 on this with Destiny in particular. I've kind of liked the getting it later, because as long as it's introduced and like I can do it very frequently throughout the campaign and the leveling experience, I'm happy with it. But if it's one of those like, you know, I'm not really using, I'm getting teased, the missions are way too tough, then nah, that's bullshit, dude. Just give it to me and let me get the abilities. So this person's totally right. When they locked it up right in the beginning, gave it to you, you start unlocking aspects and fragments. That, I think that's the biggest thing. Don't give people all of the aspects and fragments right off of the bat. Just have them unlock that along the way. I think that's a way better idea. I think they should do that every single time.
Pale Heart and make your way to the tower near the beginning, you get Prismatic right away. And through puzzles, killing bosses, and looking for secrets in the world, you unlock Prismatic chests with further fragment upgrades. It felt rewarding and fun to get new fragments and...
I'm going to be completely honest, I didn't even realize that every time I opened those chests, I was getting one of my fragments. I thought that was just because I was doing it on Legendary and I was getting extra... That's cool. See? Perfect.
Find chests with friends, rather than say Lightfall last year, earning Strand and then just buying them at a vendor. The Dread are the first brand new enemy race added into the game in years. We've had reskins of Fallen and Hive enemies, but the Dread are completely new. Grim that fly around, shoot, and stun you. The Husk will one-shot you on higher difficulties alongside the Gut.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I totally didn't even really think about that. These new guys, they were designed obviously really cool, total pain in the ass to play against. I'm not gonna lie to you, I know that's what they were aiming for. They were aiming to make a class of enemies that is just annoying. Not necessarily like super OP, but just very annoying. The flying around, the suppression, like he said, these guys being able to, it's because it's not that they one tap you, it's just they do a 2-hit combo so fast, and then you're just, so I get it. But yeah, I mean, they're a great class. They're hard to play against, but they're not, you know, I don't hate them as much as I hate like hobgoblins with shields and whatnot, but nowadays you just anti-bury them and bang bang. It is what it is. I think they're a great enemy.
That emerges out of their bodies. And subjugators.
I hate these things though. I hate these things. I hate the oh, PTSD.
Don't even get me started on them.
I'm good.
These enemies are a nice breath of fresh air and fit well with the new expansion. The old enemies you know and love still make an appearance though. The final shapes.
Yeah, they still did a good job of showing like old enemies and even like calling back things from like D1. That stuff was really good.
Campaign was a great experience. After 10 years, we finally get some big questions answered inside the Traveler, the sphere protecting the last city and granting you powers since the beginning. This campaign was a linear experience, and I feel that was the perfect choice. Both the story and destination reflect that. When you first meet...
You guys can tell me if you agree or disagree with this, but this is like the first time I think I ever played a Destiny expansion, and the campaign felt like it actually corresponded to the story of before and gave me a conclusive thing from front to back, beginning to end. Like that almost never happens, and I feel like this was the first time it ever happened. You know, people probably say like, "Oh no, remember this and that," and maybe I'm wrong, but it's the first time I felt that in a long time.
Meet Cayde and go through the threshold. You are in beautiful, luscious greenery of the lost city and tower, with the monolith far in the distance. But as you fight through the corruption caused by the Witness and find members of the Vanguard one by one, Crow at Cora Zavala, the portal from which you entered can be seen getting smaller and smaller behind you. You are making progress toward your goal.
I never even noticed that.
The environment design and soundtrack go perfectly with gameplay.
Oh yeah, I thought this was all
Locations from
great.
Characters' memories built
World
into
design was
existence
perfect.
by the Traveler.
Climbing
the
that part over there
Cosmodrome
sucked.
where you were revived in Destiny 1. Giant highways of frozen cars tilted on its side. Things are familiar but just strange enough to make you think.
Yep.
And although we've seen some of these places before, they were designed in completely unique ways. Escape missions had the floors fall out from beneath you.
Place is falling apart. We gotta move.
These ones got me a good couple times
as you attempt to solve a quick puzzle to open the next door.
Oh no, there was no solving quick puzzles. I played with you know, with the people, and I just sat there. I shot things. I did try this. I tried to go into the right side room on like the first time in the mission. Oh, it was bad. It was bad. But they were designed great though.
Bungie kept it fresh and new, even for fans who've been playing since the beginning of Destiny 1.
Yeah, this didn't feel like the same game.
Linear as a Destination 2, it doesn't feel wrong when you are just patrolling. On top of that, the final shape did something completely new for the Destiny franchise.
I also think this was like the first time in a Destiny expansion that I did just find a new area, and even though it was like a tip of the hat being the old tower, the area in itself was still generally like fairly new. Like that was the first time I found myself just kind of going out into the world and getting lost. Like I've had fun genuinely just patrolling. I haven't had that in 8 years. Do you know what I mean?
These patrol zones are your own instance this time, so it's just you and your fire team if you choose to have one. You won't see random guardians roaming the wilds, at least for now. That could be a plus or negative for a lot of players, but to me it allows the focus to be on the journey and emotion brought out by the characters, not having some random guardian jumping around behind
I'm totally okay with this. I think if you want to have the option to go no open world, sure, why not? I think you're gonna have to deal with social zones like the tower and the helm and places like that. And if you have a problem with it, sorry, we're not gonna. I think that's a minority group. We're not gonna cater to that. But if people like it, if they want it, great. I see no problem having it in the game. If until someone says it's an issue or someone explains to me why it would or wouldn't be, there's no reason not to.
Cora and Zavala as they speak. The final shape needed to be gritty, emotional, and cinematic, and it definitely was. The choice to have this as an instance version of missions, to me, made it feel a little more personal.
What do you know about grief and desperation? Except how to turn it off.
I never know how I felt about this, and you guys will have to let me know, because part of me feels like I wish that they were cutscenes so that they were done just, a little bit better. But I am with him on this argument as far as, like, it is very cool being able to stand there and look around and you feel like your character is more involved with the story. So I do get that, because your character does come up in a lot of cutscenes in your custom stuff in Destiny. Like, I know it's common in games now, but that wasn't always a thing. Like, early 2000s when I was playing a lot of games, it was the default thing or whatever. So I like this, but at the same time, I'm kind of a fan of still original cutscenes. But it's like he said, it's different, and I'm here for it.
The Witness plays with the minds of these characters, showing Zavala his past family and wanting your guardian among its ranks.
I think that stuff got a little bit weird. Because it was kind of hard to tell like what was exactly going on. That could just be me and streaming it and always having conversations kind of going on while we're playing it and being a horrible multitasker. There was definitely a lot of things I remember like looking up after the stream as far as campaign, like not spoiling it because we didn't finish all in one shot, but I put that on me, not really the game itself.
Not for the final shape, but as a god alongside it. Emotion comes through in gameplay, cutscenes, and moment-to-moments at the campfire.
The emotion was top tier.
And radio
anyone that says it wasn't is wrong.
This expansion is about stopping the end of the universe, so things had to feel serious compared to last year's Lightfall. We had important characters die, and then others have attempts at comedic relief, which just felt wrong.
Well, the uglier they are, the harder they fall, right?
I think he was one of the worst characters in any game ever. I'm gonna say it. I think this guy was like the worst character in... Oh, it was just so bad. He was the worst. And the only one that was cool was his brother or cousin or whoever it was, and they killed him instead. It was so upsetting. It was so upsetting. But yeah, they definitely went across the characters the right way. It was a little easier for them to do character satisfaction because it was a lot of callback stuff. But yeah, I mean, they knocked everything plot-wise out of the park, and they've hit on a note that they've never really hit on before.
No? Come on.
The weight of the emotions felt real. The Vanguard members hadn't seen Cayde in years, and they reacted the way you'd expect them to.
Yeah.
This.
Hey, Cora, come on, look at me.
I see you.
I know this.
I think when I was talking about what I was saying earlier with the whole cutscenes thing, it's because this moment, I just wish this was cutscene quality. I think some of these moments I just wish were, but I like the concept and I want them to do more of what they were saying of this view right here where you are actually in the scene.
This is hard. It's tough for me too.
Tough? What do you know about tough? You were always running off to play renegade, leaving me and Zavala to shoulder all the responsibility when we were supposed to be a team.
Oh.
I know.
Come on, Cayde.
I'm gonna make it up to you.
The foreshadowing and threads Bungie wove through the story begin to close towards the end, making you look back on the experience and previous moments from the game's lore and story and think, oh, that actually makes sense now. That thing I questioned before somehow feels right here. The Witness
Now, I'll be honest, I'm still one of those people that says that I hate the Crow. I hate that he's on our side now. I hate that he's now Cayde's official replacement. I hate it, but that's just me personally. It's fine. It's okay.
Like
I'm over it.
Villain as it needed to.
I'm happy
We've
for him.
seen this character in cutscenes for years, but this was our first confrontation, and it was great. Bungie brought out the creepiness and rage found in the lore for this villain and brought it to the forefront, and it worked. From Tuesday till Friday, things were building up in the universe until the release of the raid. And after the first Fireteam would complete it, the final mission would release. A 12-player mission, something Destiny's never done before.
I had no idea that the weight of the shoulders of the final... I'm going to be completely honest, I had no idea. I thought that they just like did that and like planned it, which obviously they did, but I thought it was just kind of like secret under wraps. I had no idea that was on the line. I think this is awesome. I think Destiny needs to do, obviously you need to have good expansions to back it up or else people aren't going to care about this, but doing just stuff like this for like expansions or like big seasons, it goes such a long way. It goes such a long way in the community for the content, for, I mean, just everything. This was awesome.
12 players, ally NPCs, tons of abilities and supers flying
around.
Yeah,
the last mission was
some
insane.
Epic Infinity War endgame type cutscenes as well, leading to the final moments of the campaign and some heartfelt moments.
The Witness started this war.
Oh, here we go, baby. Erwin Smith style.
But now, we end it. Hesitate to engage.
Fly, Guardian! The Witch Queen and I will prevent its escape.
And your allies will fight at your side.
Yeah, I mean, those were just so cool. Like, the 3-lane idea, it was designed well. It played great. Yeah, it was awesome.
If you're interested in just how epic this gets, click the link at the top right or in the description down below.
Yeah, it was great.
Recapping
I definitely recommend you go watch him do it.
First ever 12-player mission in Destiny history, and cinematics to go along with it, some endgame type stuff.
Yeah, it was great.
Gameplay in the Pale Heart feels fresh, with tons of new activities to take part in. Now, I've been playing this game since Destiny 1, so I'm not sure how new players feel, but if you played Destiny before, it's more Destiny. Overthrow allows you to kill enemies and complete objectives to cleanse the Traveler, and it introduces many cool new events the game's never seen before. Escort a ghost, become a corrupted thrall to break your enemy's shields. Team up with friends.
Yeah, I mean, this stuff, I'm gonna be honest, I found it more annoying going through, but that's just more as a, like, veteran player, but I like it. Like, I do like the change of pace. I do like it being a little bit different for sure.
Friendly exploder shanks to clear the way.
Yeah, like, that's never been done.
The ideas Bungie has come up with here are quite unique compared to some of the content we've had in the past. It's not the same open world areas with patrol vendors just sitting waiting for you to activate them. It's not the same old...
I don't think I've seen one, like, just plain patrol mission in the Pale Heart yet, and I'm not saying they don't exist. I've probably walked past like 70 of them if they have. But yeah, I mean, it's just been like all of the, you know, busy clearing out all of the stuff for the event that he was talking about. I've seen public events, but I feel like I haven't seen like just normal traditional patrol missions with the beacon that beeps. You know what I mean?
Public events, say the Blight, it's completely different and it's a nice change. The campaign and patrol offer many puzzles that felt challenging at times, but didn't make me get lost.
Really good drops too. Like, you either only get ghost reputation or you get a solid drop out of it. There's like no in between, so they don't give you a whole bunch of just like, you know, garbage loot for mats, which I do think we need to maybe up the mats a little bit more in Destiny if we're going to take this approach of like the weapons, but that's for another day. But yeah, I mean, you were getting the ghost rep, which is huge. Faction reputation's always massive. Any of these games, I'm here for it. And the drops, that's the other part I was hinting at. They were massive. Like, I was getting good gear out of everything. Like, it felt like I wasn't just wasting my time like Patrol usually does.
Wherever the Witness touched, this blight spread.
The final shape's got a cast of characters Destiny fans are familiar with. but also new ones from lore and in the Pale Heart. Micah 10 was introduced in the Lore and Beyond Light, but appears for the first time as a vendor. She guides you to save lost ghosts and has many new quests and rewards, including armor and weapons. Overall, the Final Shape had a meaningful story and conclusion to a 10-year saga. This is one of Destiny 2's best expansions so far, in my opinion. It's only been out for a couple of days, but with the chunk of the content being played through, that's what I believe. The story was cohesive and made sense. Sure, you may still have some questions, but that's the purpose of a live service game. Some of it's told in the lore, some of it Bungie wants to keep you thinking on. The big focal point, the goal, the main threat was addressed though in The Witness and this Light and Darkness saga. The gameplay was great with Prismatic, the linear Pale Heart destination, and the whole experience felt connected in universe. The final battle was approaching and it felt like everyone we knew was there for the end.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Now,
it felt like a true
the
conclusion.
Final Shape was probably one of the worst in Destiny history. Server issues pretty much all day.
Dude, see, like, this is what I really can't believe. Like, maybe this is just nostalgia and me being old school Andy, even though I'm 26 and not old, whatever you want to call it. Like, I remember launch days where you were not logging on to the game. You might not get on Tuesday, like D1. And I know people are like, well, we live in a world where that should be way easier. It's way harder to make games. Servers are obviously, they cost more money now. Like, not that that's a problem for these guys anymore, but like, it's way harder to do things now because more people are doing it. The amount of people that played Destiny 2 trample the numbers that were on D1. So, like, yes, of course I expect them to adapt with the times. I don't think the launch was that bad. And I know I got a little bit, there was some frustrations on night one, but that was more because I missed out on the cutscene that I had to go back and just, like, watch the rest of. Like, I personally, I don't think this is even, like, top 5, like, launches that I can think of. Like, I can't remember the expansions, but I can think of like the 5 different like setups that me and my dad like used to have throughout the time that we played Destiny, and remembering like sitting in there waiting for the server to let us in. And sometimes that was all day. I don't know. I feel like the launch was not as bad as people make it out to be.
But once things actually got up and running, the expansion was a smooth experience. Out of all the live
and I'm not going to sit here and I'm sure people in the comments are going to be like, oh, you're meat riding Bungie on that. Like, no, it wasn't great. I got disconnected plenty of times. I had to redo stuff. Like, it is what it is. It happened. I'm expecting that. Like, it's okay. I'm not like deep down, I'm not okay with that. I wish I didn't have to do it. I don't want to have to deal with it every single time, but it is what it is.
Service games out there, Bungie actually does a pretty great job. Server issues aside, most things in the Final Shape just seem to work. You'll always have those little bugs, things they'll fix in the next patch or the next week, but the campaign worked. There wasn't some giant bug stopping everybody from progressing. No. Previous Destiny expansions have had their moments like Witch Queen and Forsaken, but in terms of making a great expansion that concludes a giant saga, I think Bungie did a pretty great job. You could have 4 great expansions, but if the Final Shape, the conclusion, was terrible, it would ruin the experience for longtime fans.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a great build-up, but the climax of the story sucks, nobody's going to care about the build-up that you had. It's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Think about the Promised Neverland anime. Anybody that's watched that? How good was Season 1 and then Season 2? That's my point.
And ruin the game going forward. We seem to be in a pretty great spot now, and that's exciting. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I make Destiny videos, I've been playing Destiny, it's one of my favorite games, so this is my review. The Final Shape was about Guardians making their own fate, saving the universe from dire threats like The Witness. So far, the Final Shape experience has been great, and seems to be one of Destiny's best expansions. Anyway, Guardians, if you'd like to see some more Destiny lore mysteries and videos like this one, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.
This was a good video. I'll link it to you guys here in stream, and it'll be linked below on YouTube. I'm gonna be honest, I'm with them. I think this was one of the best expansions they've ever put out. It was front to back, one of the best It was the best story. Enjoyed it. It's just been crazy to me, man, watching Destiny like after all of this time, 10 years later, pop off, and it's awesome. It's great to see. I mean, I don't really need to elaborate too much more on my opinions of it. I gave it in the beginning, nothing changed. For me personally, it's a perfect Destiny expansion for me as a Destiny fan, as a streamer and somebody who makes videos. It's an 8 out of 10, 8.5. I'd probably say an 8.5. Honestly, I do think it is really good. Like, genuinely, I think me just being a Destiny fan makes it so perfect. I do think it is worthy of the 8.5, surprisingly. And I don't think I would give any other Destiny expansion like an 8.5 right off the rip, other than Forsaken out of Destiny 2. And it's been so long of Destiny 1, I can't even tell you what they were. Like, I remember Crota, Oryx was Destiny 2. Conversation for another day too. But yeah, great video. Sub to Evaze too. Check him out. That's great. I hope this definitely feels like the end of the era of the Light and Dark, like it was supposed to be, and it feels like if we get another entire new title in itself, it's gonna be very, very different. It's not gonna be anything I feel like we've had before.